for the challenges of tomorrow. Readiness is also a means of making sure that our people and their families are taken care of when our bases update their equipment and missions. This is something my community is facing directly. I represent Joint Force Training Base Los Alamitos, a key training center for the Army Reserve and National Guard, and a strategic hub for military operations out of Southern California. Nearly 200 soldiers and civilians as Los Al are assigned to the Expeditionary Combat Aviation Brigade, which the Army Transformation Initiative plans to deactivate without any recapitalization plan. This means that 200 highly qualified people could be out of a job when we should be using their skills to meet our many readiness needs. General Laniv, thank you for committing to having more conversations about recapitalization plans at Los Al moving forward. You know, a few weeks ago, I introduced the Combating Chinese Communist Party Influence Act with my colleagues, Rep. Harrigan, Rep. Strickland, and Rep. Bacon from HASS. This bill instructs the Director of National Intelligence to create a comprehensive interagency report about the growing CCP presence across the world and the risks that it poses to U.S. national security. General Goering, I'm going to start with you. How might a report of the growing threat of CCP influence improve Marine Corps readiness for future conflict?
I'm sorry, Congressman, can you repeat the last part of that question? How would the growing?
How might the report of the growing threat of the CCP influence improve the Marine Corps in readiness for future conflict?
Congressman, I'm going to take that for the record.
Okay.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I'm going to ask your fellow generals, anyone have any, and the Admiral as well, any input on how a report on CCP's influence would help prepare your agency for readiness?
Hey, sir, the thing that comes to mind, and I'm sure there's many ways that would be helpful to us, but the thing that comes to mind is really as we work through these new acquisition programs and understanding where influence is happening in the industrial base, where we might be assuming some risk, I think would be one area. I'm sure there's many others, but we do see, you know, increased activity from the Space Force in particular, but I'm sure for all the services in the acquisition fields and working with the defense industrial base. And so understanding what the landscape looks like there would be helpful. Thanks.
Thank you, Chairman Bratton. Any other comments from the other generals?
I just
Admiral?
think, you know, security is always on our mind. So that report is a fundamental thing that we can share with sailors in the Navy to kind of get everyone to realize that there's a threat out there. I think, you know, people can get a little tone deaf from that. So that would be a useful vehicle to realign everybody.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Two things. First, I just want to publicly thank you for recognizing all of our losses and you know, continued support of the families and prayers for the families. I think anytime on your first part, anytime there's additional look, whether it's, you know, inside our organization or outside the organization, help paint the true threat, the overall threat, helps us to look at ourselves and look at our systems and how we can protect ourselves, how we can do training to be able to protect inside the systems. And I share all of the other advices that in our acquisition process is where we're really going to be able to use this to help us as we go forward.
General Lamontagne?
Congressman, as the pacing challenge and threat outlined in the National Defense Strategy, we spent a lot of time on China. I have not seen this report, but my sense is it's probably another good place for our airmen to study.
Thank you so much, and I'm about to run out of time, but I want to thank you all for your service. You know, deeply honored that you're here speaking to us, and thank you for sharing. With that, Chairman, I yield back.
Thank you. Mr. Mesmer, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for the witnesses for being here today. Admiral Kilby, we talk a lot about the munitions stockpile challenges, but I'm also concerned with the potential SPY-6 radar fielding delay. What are we doing now to keep the fleet from taking a readiness hit as it relies longer on the SPY-1?
Hey, sir, your Crane Indian is super helpful for us here. We are underway to establish a depot as well as engaging industry to help redouble their efforts here. I'm not satisfied with the amount of no bid parts that are returned on the spy radar, so we're in heavy engagement, and Crane is helping us there. But I just think we need to really look forward to 2060 What's it going to take to maintain this radar until 2060? And notwithstanding all the work that's happened in the last, I would say, 2 years in the Red Sea, in the Gulf of Oman, in the Eastern Med, where our ships have performed, and that spy radar, as you know, is critical to close the fire control loop, whether I'm countering a ballistic missile or an anti-ship cruise missile. It is the reason that ship exists. So we have to look at this from a fulsome perspective. And I also think we should look at it clear-eyed from a battlefield spare perspective. If we have a ship, and God forbid we take damage, we've got some spare arrays in a warehouse that we can bring that ship back to line quickly, because we can't generate that out of the organic system now.
Okay, do you have do your depots have the capacity, the parts, the technical data, the rate to keep those radars combat credible?
I think we need to work on that. We need to do more in all those areas, sir.
Okay, tacking on to the ranking member and Rep. Harrigan's comments, do your depots, such as Crane in my district, have the technical data and the right repair rights that they need to do that work efficiently?
Again, I think it falls across the board that we can do better there. So I look forward to right to repair. And I made the comment about ability to repair. Mm-hmm. So one of the things we're doing in the Navy is returning to eye-level maintenance. That's intermediate-level maintenance. We walked away from that 20 years. We put it in our packages for our maintenance availabilities for contractors. We're going to pull it back, and we're going to man up depots at our fleet concentration centers where sailors can do hull mechanical electrical work as well as combat systems work. So I think that's part of that, sir.
Okay, thank you. If the organic depots are still working around incomplete data or proprietary repair restrictions, isn't that a bigger readiness problem now that the SPY 6 delays are extending the life of SPY 1?
Yes, it is, sir.
Okay, thank you. General Gerling, I'd like to discuss the JLTV readiness issue. How many JLTVs are expected to be part of the Marine fleet? And can you highlight the importance of this vehicle to the Marines' ground mobility strategy?
Congressman, thanks for the question. The Marine Corps remains fully committed to the JLTV program. It not only provides maneuver, but it also provides tactical level C2 and fires. So we remain committed to an AAO of 12,500 vehicles and 4,000 trailers. We currently need to put under contract about another 5,000 vehicles and 2,000 trailers to meet that AAO. And going forward, based on program stability as a joint program, areas we're interested in understanding is impacts on unit cost, life cycle sustainment, and program management, but we remain fully committed to the JLTV.
Okay. What policy actions would best support the readiness of the Marine JLTV fleet?
Congressman, as a joint program, this is something that I need to continue to investigate with our joint